Hi, my name's Stephanie Norberg. We're here at BWAC and we're here with Pedro Troncoso, and he is currently in the Black and White exhibition and has several works in this show.
Well, thank you for having me in this wonderful show. The history behind these paintings are basically my own experience from my transition to childhood to adulthood. Mm-hmm. It was like my response to a question that I've always asked to myself, like, why do we, as we grow up, lose our essence and our inner genuine side because of the social patterns and the stereotypes and like the many pressures that we get as we grow? Mm-hmm. And sometimes they are a little bit pointless, but we still make them. So with my work, I try to challenge those patterns and those expectations that we have for us as adults. And I use my family members because I think they grew up with me. They were like in my process in that transition. Mm-hmm. And I use them like the subject matter of my paintings to bring back some memories and some thoughts, ideas that I used to have as a kid. So, yeah.
So innocence is pretty, like, tapping back into that like childhood innocence is pretty important for like the content behind the painting.
Yeah, it's like bringing back some type of atmosphere mm-hmm. back then that remind us what we were and what we have lost, and kind of decide if we want to keep losing that or if we actually want to think more about that, because we cannot be children again. Like, it's impossible to be a child again.
Yeah.
But I think we should reconsider where are we going to. Like, okay, we won't be child again, but how much of an adult I'm going to be, and what does that mean? So I usually bring back in terms of the technique and the mm-hmm. and the colors from my kindergarten days, for example, and the crayons. I also use sometimes tissue paper, like colorful paper that we used to have in back in the school.
Yeah.
Making like little crafts and stuff like that. And it's kind of to balance it with a more realistic, more serious portrait and create that tension in between the two worlds. And hopefully get some thoughts out of both of them.
Yeah, you can definitely feel that tension between like the current day, like as an adult, back with, you know, juxtaposition between adulthood and childhood, because you have a lot of those like colorful colors and like kind of remind me of like Trapper Keepers, like when you would just like totally like doodle on top of it, sketches that you would have as a kid, like kind of that line quality work, which is really awesome that you pair those two things together.
Yeah, I like that. I like connections in between contrasting elements. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I have been a victim of is writing down my plans, writing down like all my notes and things I have to do in post-its, like sticky notes.
Yeah.
And these formats are kind of inspired by that idea of writing all your stressful responsibilities. But in this case, I wanted to put on top of it that tension created by the responsibilities. So I wanted to mix it with an aesthetic that is more childish, but also with the part of being an adult, because I'm in both worlds at the same time. So I don't know, it was like writing down my plans, but in a more artistic way, kind of.
Yeah, it's like processing that transition of like going into adulthood. Like the portraits are like how you're seeing things now, but like bringing back or bringing into the future like memories from the past.
Exactly, and I think they are developing. They are becoming something more open, more relatable, because as I'm talking about myself in these paintings, I believe it's an experience that we all have, because I have friends who have been not even studying what they want because, I don't know, their parents are not okay with it, and like,
yeah, there's a lot of like restrictions and conditions.
Yeah, and I'm like, why can't you just stick faithful to who you are and what you want to become? Because okay, we're adults, we're more smart, but sometimes things just don't make sense, maybe as much as they didn't when we were kids. So it's kind of like it has some similarities that we pretend to ignore, and we pretend to just be superheroes as adults and doing
yeah,
things
and pretend like we have everything together when we still have that inner child in us, and we're still processing and like
yeah
figuring out how to navigate life.
Exactly. And it's all about learning, it's all about being open, it's all about breaking realities and preconceptions about what we think about our surroundings and about ourselves. So that's kind of the idea I have behind these paintings and the conversations I want to create when someone looks at them. It's like another dimension to consider and to change our mindset about what we do, how we act, what we want to be in the future.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you did a really beautiful job of like layering all those concepts into these paintings.
Thank you.
Like there's a lot of depth to them.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming here and talking with us about your work, and it was really amazing hearing all the themes and the processes and just the thoughts and inspiration behind your studio practice.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me in this amazing show. It will definitely be one of my most memorable shows because of how the works are interacting to each other. So you guys can follow me and my the process behind it, where I post like my sketchbooks and ideas and sometimes some selfies on Instagram in I was Pedro. So thank you so much.
Thank you.